Okay, let's dive right in because this deep dive, it really tackles probably the biggest fear men face in dating.
Yeah, absolutely. The idea that when you stop contacting a woman, well, most men just assume the worst.
Right. She'll move on, forget you, maybe find someone else instantly. That's the default thinking.
It is. It's that almost universal panic response.
Mhm.
But it comes from a pretty deep misunderstanding of attraction psychology.
So the material we're looking at today argues the complete opposite.
Exactly. It insists that silence, when it's done with discipline, it doesn't make you disappear. It actually magnifies you.
Magnifies you. Okay, so that's the core concept we need to unpack, that your silence plants these questions you just can't ignore.
Yeah, and if there's one takeaway rule from this whole discussion, it's this. Uncertainty is the oxygen of desire.
Got it. So our mission today then is to give you that mental framework
Yeah.
for handling that withdrawal moment.
Right. We're breaking down the raw psychology of what happens when that connection suddenly stops. We're identifying those three key shifts.
Shock, uncertainty, and the ego bruise.
Those are the ones.
Yeah.
And figuring out what it really means to hold your frame, that like solid commitment to your own emotional stability and self-respect, especially when you're tested.
Okay, let's jump into that first shift then. The immediate reaction. It feels so backward, doesn't it? We assume she's just relieved.
We do, but the sources are clear. The first feeling isn't relief. It's not indifference either. It's actually shock,
Shock. Why shock?
because it's a disruption, a break in the pattern. Think about it, humans. We're creatures of habit, built on rhythm.
With the morning coffee, the commute.
Exactly. The predictable things. Even that notification sound on your phone.
Huh.
The rhythm gets established, even if the attention itself wasn't always, let's say, fully appreciated.
That's a really key distinction. I like that analogy from the source material. Your attention, like the texts, the check-ins, it becomes like background music.
Yeah, like in a cafe. You might consciously tune it out, ignore it sometimes, leave texts on read,
Uh-huh.
but it was there, part of the soundscape. And the second that music stops,
The silence is deafening.
absolutely. You don't analyze the music while it's playing, but you definitely notice when it's gone. And this shock, it hits hard because your communication represented two crucial things for her sense of self:
Which are?
access and security.
Access, meaning she knew you were still kind of there, orbiting her world.
Right. That quiet reassurance and
Mhm.
security, well, that means she felt she had control over your attention.
Okay, I see. If she knows you'll text, she feels secure. She holds the power to reply or, not reply.
Precisely. That certainty is comforting for her. But when you stop contacting her, you just pull that certainty away. Suddenly, she doesn't know she still has that predictable influence.
Okay, let me push back a little here. Because realistically, sometimes silence does just mean someone's lost interest and people move on.
Mm.
How does this initial shock actually turn into desire instead of just apathy?
That's a fair question. Apathy needs a lack of investment, right? The shock itself is proof she noticed.
Oh.
It proves your presence mattered enough for its absence to register. The moment she clocks that absence, even if she tries to ignore it, her emotions are now being shaped by you. Or, more accurately, by your lack of response.
So it establishes your attention isn't just guaranteed, it's a resource.
Exactly. That framing attention is a resource that's critical. So, okay, shock disrupts things first. But the second effect, uncertainty, that's where the desire engine really ignites.
Uncertainty as the fire, I like that.
It burns way hotter than certainty ever could. The core psychological point here. The female mind just hates an information vacuum. It tests unanswered questions.
Right. Silence doesn't offer closure, it leaves this void.
And her mind almost involuntarily rushes in to fill it.
Which turns her into that emotional detective you mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. She's not just slightly curious. She's actively trying to piece together the puzzle of why you went quiet.
And her imagination just runs wild, right? From simple stuff like, is he busy?
To the deeper triggers. Did I mess something up? Did I read that wrong? Or the big one that really fuels pursuit. Is he seeing someone else? Is she getting the attention now?
And the power in that spiral is the investment itself.
That's the key. The very act of mental investment ties her to you. She has to spend emotional energy replaying messages, analyzing little details she ignored before, questioning herself.
So even negative feelings like frustration or doubt.
They still link back to you. The more mental energy she pours in, the stronger that connection actually becomes, paradoxically.
Okay, but this approach with holding contact to get a reaction, it often gets called manipulative or playing games.
Yeah.
What's the real difference between that and the disciplined silence you're describing.
That's a really crucial distinction to make. Manipulation is usually about faking disinterest just to get a quicker response, right?
Yeah.
Discipline, or what we're calling holding the stoic frame, that's rooted in genuine self-respect. It's about moving your focus back onto your own mission, your own life.
So it's not a tactic, it's a consequence.
Precisely. When you genuinely redirect your energy, you're not playing her game anymore. You're showing your emotional stability doesn't depend on her approval. The silence happens naturally because your focus is elsewhere.
I see. It's the difference between pretending to be scarce and actually being scarce because your time and energy are valuable.
You got it. Certainty breeds comfort, yeah. But comfort can easily lead to complacency. When you pull back, you remove that comfort blanket. You remind her that attraction, access to you, it's not guaranteed.
She feels the risk of losing something she valued.
And this right here is where so many men stumble. They panic.
They break the silence way too soon, rush back in with the, hey, just checking in, is everything okay? Text.
Which kills the mystery instantly. It's like giving away the ending of a great thriller novel in the first chapter.
Good analogy. The TV show pilot example works too. It sets up this compelling question.
Right. If the show answered everything in the first 5 minutes, you'd be bored. You'd change the channel. Silence makes you the compelling mystery. It forces her to dedicate her mental energy to figuring you out.
The second she knows you're still just waiting, hovering,
Yeah,
that fire of uncertainty goes out.
completely. The less she knows where she stands, ironically, the more space you take up in her mind.
And that connects directly to the third effect, which sounds the most potent. The sting, the ego, and the power shift.
Yeah, let's talk about the ego bruise.
Yeah.
Because words, even if it's rejection, they give her something solid, something clear to process.
But silence, it gives her nothing.
And nothing, according to the source material, is much harder to handle. Because without any external feedback, her mind starts creating scenarios.
And they're usually worse than reality.
Often, yes. It forces her to confront her own insecurities, and this ties directly into her sense of value, especially if she's used to getting a lot of attention.
Which, let's be honest, in today's world, attention often feels like a guaranteed currency for many women, right? Social media, compliments.
It does. So when you break that pattern, when you withhold your attention, you're essentially cutting off a reliable source of validation she might have been leaning on psychologically.
And the feeling that causes is irrelevance.
Irrelevance, that's the word the sources use. And it's described as almost intolerable. Think about it. Rejection hurts because you know you were seen and then dismissed.
Okay.
Irrelevance feels worse because it's like you were never seen or you become invisible, easily replaceable. It makes her question if she was ever as central to your world as she thought.
And that's where the dynamic slips, because now she might feel compelled to work harder for the attention she used to get freely.
Exactly. Because most guys faced with that coldness or silence, they fold immediately. They chase.
They over-explain, try to bargain, try to win her back.
Proving, essentially, that her approval is the switch that controls their emotions. But when you meet her silent, with just calm, unwavering, silence yourself, no drama, no big
The
explanation.
power shows
Yeah.
instantly.
She realizes she can't provoke you, can't predict you, can't control your emotional state anymore.
And again, it's crucial to state, this isn't about being cruel or playing games for the sake of it.
No, not at all. It's about discipline. It's about self-respect. It's refusing to reward indifference or disrespect with more of your valuable energy.
That self-respect becomes the rare commodity.
Absolutely. Getting attention from men who lack boundaries, that's easy. But calm, unwavering indifference from a strong man who's clearly got his own life, his own mission, that's unusual.
And rarity is attractive. You protect your energy, you elevate your dignity.
Which brings us neatly to the final section, the ultimate test. When she pulls back, initiates silence. The sources frame this not just as rejection, but as a kind of challenge.
The test of holding the stoic frame.
Yeah, her distance, often it's like an unconscious stress test for your emotional stability, your masculine core,
She's basically asking, are you solid enough? Can you hold your ground, maintain your self-respect without me constantly propping up your ego?
That's the underlying question. And the failure point is painfully obvious.
Panic, begging, sending that massive late-night text trying to explain everything.
You fail the test instantly. You prove her approval dictates your emotional state, and respect just evaporates in that moment.
So the strength lies in the stoic response. You broke it down into 3 pillars from the material. First one, control your emotions.
Right. The Stoic approach isn't about controlling her actions. It's about controlling your internal response to them.
Okay, give us a real-world example. What does that look like?
Let's say she sends the classic one-word K text
Hmm.
after you send something thoughtful, or she suddenly goes radio silent for 3 days.
Yeah.
Your response isn't a flurry of follow-up texts demanding answers. It's not a big emotional reaction. It's indifference. Maybe a calm, simple reply much later. Or maybe just silence back.
You project stability. Your value doesn't wobble based on her behavior.
Exactly. Pillar 2, focus on your mission. This is fundamental. A man with purpose, his life revolves around that purpose, not solely around finding or keeping a relationship.
So when she pulls back, you don't just sit there waiting.
No. You pour that energy back into your mission. Your work, your health, your personal growth, your discipline. You have to genuinely show, not just pretend that her absence doesn't stop your momentum.
That self-contained drive is attractive in itself. She sees you're not just orbiting her.
Right. You're moving forward, with or without her.
Yeah.
That builds massive respect.
Okay, and the third pillar, this one sounds like it requires the most discipline. Let her feel the consequences.
It does. Don't rush to close the gap she created. Let her actually feel the emptiness your absence leaves.
And when she eventually reaches back out, which the shock, uncertainty, and ego sting suggest she likely will,
You greet her with calm strength. Like nothing major happened. You don't lecture her about the silence. You don't demand apologies. You simply demonstrate that her withdrawal didn't shake you. Your confidence, your value, your frame, they remained intact.
why is sticking to this stoic approach framed as a win no matter how the relationship itself turns out?
Because attraction, deep down, thrives on stability. It's a
Ah.
paradox. Women might test boundaries with chaos or emotional tests,
Uh-huh.
but they ultimately feel safest and most attracted to calm, consistent strength. By holding your frame, you prove you're not easily manipulated. You're not broken by silence. You're guided by your values, not just fleeting emotions.
That stability is the bedrock of respect.
And respect is the only fuel for attraction that lasts.
Okay, so summing this up, the analysis really lands on a powerful conclusion. Silence isn't about weakness or avoidance or game playing.
Not when done right. It's power. Rooted in restraint, self-control, discipline. It commands respect and elevates your own dignity.
And there's a deeper implication here, isn't there? It goes beyond just dating.
Absolutely. The ultimate takeaway is about self-mastery.
The sources warn that if you let a woman's silence or withdrawal dictate your emotions,
Then anything can control you. Your boss, critics, life's challenges. You'll always be reactive, always living below your potential. A man easily swayed emotionally can't build a life he's truly capable of.
but by choosing that stoic path, responding with strength, focus, calm,
You become the kind of man women respect, other men admire, and the world takes seriously. You choose calm over chaos, consistently.
So the final provocative thought we want to leave you with from this deep dive is this. That silence you might fear, it isn't your enemy.
Think of it as your training ground. It's the fire that forges your discipline. Remember, the world respects men who build things, who stand tall on their own principles, not men who beg for validation or attention.
Your commitment to your own frame, your own mission, that's the most magnetic quality you have.